Hello, welcome to my channel. So my name is Lauren and I just wanted to make a video on my journey into bariatric or weight loss surgery. So this is my first video on YouTube, my first official video. We all have those, awkward old videos. Well, maybe not all of us, but some unfortunate of us. So I wanted to talk about my journey going through the bariatric surgery process. So let's get started. So it currently is April and we are in the midst of the COVID-19 or the coronavirus pandemic. So I have lots of time to make this video. I've been wanting to make this video for since the beginning that I started. And I guess my journey really started in September of last year. So it's been how many months? It's been 7 months. Wow, that's a lot. I don't think it usually takes this long for most people, but it just depends, and we'll get into all of that, but it really depends on, all the different things that your doctor or your insurance requires. Okay, let's go back in time to last year. Just last September, I just started thinking, it just hit me one day. I was like, I should have weight loss surgery. Let me take you through my train of thought. So I'm a very outdoorsy person. I love everything outdoors. I live in the Southwest, and so there's like a million things to do, a million things to see. There's so many things to see, and I love it. It's my favorite. So there's a hike to this beautiful waterfall in Arizona. From pictures, it looks like the most beautiful place I could ever go to. I just really want to do this hike, but it's I believe it's 11 miles one way. So you've got like a 20 to 22 mile hike, and then you also are carrying all of this gear. You have to carry your tent, you have to carry your food, you have to carry, everything that you're going to need. And I was like, am I ever going to be in the physical shape that I need to be in to do this hike? Because it's a strenuous, I'm sure it's strenuous, and there's no way I could do that many miles in carrying, pounds and pounds of weight and then that many miles back. I'm like, what if I never get to see this waterfall? What if I never get to do the things that I want to do? And it was just kind of like a revelation, I guess. I'm 29 years old, and so I'm not getting any younger, and I don't want the best years of my life to be wasted just going to work and looking at pictures of all these places that I can't physically get to and never being able to see that. I don't want to die never experiencing these things that I physically cannot do. So anyways, so I felt this revelation, like, you should have weight loss surgery. And I was like, oh, I don't know about that. Like, I've lost weight before. Surely I can lose weight and keep it off and not have to do something that extreme. And I felt like maybe that was like an easy way out. But after doing all of this research, because I am a researcher, whenever I'm making a decision, I do all the research. I see that it's not an easy way out. It's a tool, but it's not just like a magic button where, they perform the surgery and automatically you're skinny and you're physically fit. It's a tool that you use to get to that place. So anyways, moving on into the actual process. So I made the decision. So I was like, I have I've never had a surgery before in my life. I have no idea like what steps to take. So in September, I called my insurance and I just wanted to see like basically if my insurance would even cover it, like if it was even an option. So I called, and I'm really awkward when it comes to talking on the phone, like to anybody. So I was like, hi, I was just wondering, does my insurance cover bariatric surgery? And she said, yeah, it was like basically like covered it completely. And so I was like, okay, so that's like, check in the box, one of the boxes of, you know, am I going to have to pay out of pocket or, you know, what? So my insurance covered it completely. And so I was like, so I asked my mom, okay, I called my insurance. What do I do next? So she said, make an appointment with your primary physician, and then they would give you a referral. So I go and see him, and he was really awesome, really nice guy, and he was very much for me having the surgery. And so he gave me a referral to the DaVita Medical Group. And so like 2 days later, maybe, I got a phone call from DaVita, and they set me up with an appointment. So I get to my appointment, my first appointment, and I meet with the surgeon, and he's a really nice guy. And basically, you know, he's like asking me questions, just like about different things, about like experiences I've had with weight loss, any sort of like digestive issues or heart issues, or, you know, any of those things that they might need to know. At the beginning, I filled out a thing about, I filled out a chart on like what I eat, what I like, my medical history, like if, you know, what runs my family, and like about my exercise, how much I exercise, how much I eat out. It asked for like a specific, like, what did you eat yesterday? And so I said, you know, everything that I ate yesterday. Then it asked for my medical history, like, do I have diabetes? Have I had a stroke? Have I had a heart disease, anything? And I couldn't check any of the boxes. I don't have diabetes. I've never had, you know, anything. I've never really had anything wrong with me. I'm just overweight. And so the doctor, he said, you know, you are actually like really healthy, just the overweight part. So you're a perfect candidate for the surgery. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. So he gave me this checklist, but basically it just looks like this, and it just asks, so according to my insurance, how many dietary visits I need. My insurance required 3 dietary visits, and then it also requires to have the psychosocial clearance. So I have to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist just to clear me for the surgery. So I have to, you know, if you have issues with your heart, or if you have issues with your lungs or something like that, you have to get those cleared. So basically that's all on this checklist. Everything that I have to have a, I had to have lab work done. I had to have an ultrasound. They did an ultrasound on my gallbladder and my stomach area. And then I also had to have a endoscopy. So that was the first time I've ever been under anesthesia. So that, I mean, I was a little nervous at first, but it went super well. So basically all of these things that I have to do, the doctor's office does all the work. They send all the referrals, and all I have to do is either call them or answer the phone when they call me and make an appointment for whatever works for me. So it's great. So I got, you know, they gave me all the papers I needed for my lab work, for all that. So I went, and it was all in like the same areas. So I was able to go to one doctor's office and basically have everything done that I needed to do at first. And then after that, I had to have the endoscopy. And what happened was, so I went in, my mom had to go with me because they put me under. So they give me an IV, which was like the second time in my life having an IV. And they give me the IV, and then they're like, basically, okay, like take me back. They roll me out, take me to a room. They put me under. They like do all that. I like, that was crazy. I just like went to sleep, and then I woke up, and it was only like, I think only took like 10 or 15 minutes. And that was crazy. I just like had never been under anesthesia ever. But it like was like nothing. I didn't feel groggy. I woke up right away. There's no big deal. And so he did see some stuff like still in somewhere, I don't know, but he's like, you know, I want to make sure that that your upper digestive area is working properly. So I had to have 2 different appointments. I went, the first one, they had me swallow like a radioactive egg, basically, and they would take pictures and make sure that it was going down properly. And then the next one, I had to swallow barium, and they took like x-rays and made sure everything was going down. Everything was perfect, it was fine, so no problem there. Just had, you know, just had to be cautious, I guess. So all the while, I am seeing my dietitian, and my first appointment was like a group appointment. There was 2 other people in the appointment with me who were on the path of, you know, having bariatric surgery. So on our first appointment, they gave me this binder that has like pretty much everything I need to know. So basically, we went through over all of the behaviors that we have to adapt to before we have the surgery, because basically, if you go in the surgery, like yesterday, you're eating like Whoppers from Burger King and like ice cream and soda and all this stuff, like it's gonna be it's gonna set you up for failure basically after you have the surgery, because your body still is used to eating like that. So you have to adjust your behaviors ahead of time. So basically, she gives you a checklist of all the things, and this is the checklist she gives us. So the first one was stop all carbonated beverages, anything with caffeine. So that was my biggest thing, was drinking soda. I love Coke, loved it, love. Like I would drink, I would go on my lunch break and go fast food, get a Coke with my lunch, get off work, go through the McDonald's drive-thru, get a Coke, and then maybe drink another Coke at the end of the day. So like, so much Coke. That's like so many calories, so many. So you have to stop it like right away. I have to find a chewable vitamin, not a gummy vitamin. You have to have a chewable multivitamin. You have to start exercising at least 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. That wasn't really a problem for me because at least like lower energy exercising, because I have dogs, and so I'm always like taking walks with them. Number 4 is work on chewing each bite of food at least 20 times. I thought that this was going to be harder for me, but it turns out that I already chew my food a lot. That was kind of a shock to me. I started chewing in like like 20 times wasn't enough for me. So it was really weird. Number 5, which was really hard for me, and I'm still like working on it, is not drinking any liquids during your meals. And you have to stop drinking. You can't drink anything 30 minutes before you eat and an hour after you eat. And that was really hard for me because I always drink a lot at meals. I felt like I couldn't get food, like I can't get food down. So that took like a lot of practice, and like sometimes I still like miss that. And I asked, you know, obviously, because I have to ask all the questions about why we do anything. So apparently after you have your surgery, your food, because it like passes by your stomach, it takes longer, or it doesn't take as long to digest. And if you're washing it out, then you're basically all the nutrition from your food is going through you like really fast. I don't know all the like technical terms, but basically when you're drinking water or drinking anything when you eat, it's washing the food out faster than it should. Who knew? Not me. The next one is eat your 3 meals a day, no snacks, and keep your carb count in your meals to about 45 grams per meal. So that eat, like my dietitian is like, did you eat breakfast? Did you eat breakfast? Did you eat breakfast? And I'm like, no. So that was kind of hard for me too, is making sure I was eating breakfast, because I don't ever. So that's been one of my struggles, is actually like eating something in the morning. Number 7 is drink at least 64 ounces of fluid a day. And basically to sip fluids all day long and not use a straw. So I went and bought a water bottle. I don't have it right now, but I bought a water bottle from like TJ Maxx that doesn't have a straw on it, just has like a flip thing, and it is 64 or it's 32 ounces, so I have to fill it up once in a day. But I pretty much have that with me all the time. And it was kind of hard at first to drink that much water, but like actually having a water bottle that I bought specifically, you know, for this kind of helped. Another thing that helps is that you can add water flavors to it, and so that helps to drink to drink more. And also with like sugar cravings, for me at least, that's kind of helped curb those. Number 8, if you smoke or chew, stop, which I don't do either of those things, so that wasn't a big deal. Number 9, stop desserts and fried foods. That was pretty difficult because I just like have a sweet tooth, and it's not like that bad. It's not as bad as some people's, I don't think, but I definitely like want ice cream a lot. So that's where that like water flavoring comes in. I know it's like a sad substitute, but it works. And like when you really make up your mind to do something, these things will come easy. Number 10, which just didn't apply to me. If you have diabetes, you have to check your blood glucose each day, or twice a day. And I don't have diabetes, so I didn't have to do that. Number 11, this is the last one. If you have sleep apnea, you have to use the CPAP machine as required, which is like a new thing for me because I just got diagnosed with sleep apnea, and so I'm gonna have to, I haven't even gotten my CPAP yet, so I'm gonna have to start using that. You have to have a minimum amount of nights using the CPAP before your surgery. So yeah, so those are the things that I like have worked on. And so my first visit with my dietitian was with the group, and that was in Okay, so my first visit with my dietitian was it was 5 days actually after I met with my surgeon, and that was right before Thanksgiving. Right before Thanksgiving and right before my birthday, so that was kind of difficult. I did struggle a lot with doing, like, giving up any of those things, adapting to those behaviors, which is probably why it's March and I still haven't had surgery. Wait, no, it's April. Sad. But so my first one was before Thanksgiving, and we went over all of those things. So it was pretty much a very basic nutritional lesson. And since my mom's a nurse and kind of a bit of a health freak, I knew pretty much everything that we went over, but we talked about what types of foods were starches, what were proteins, what were fats, you know, those types of things. And I mean, like, I felt like it was pretty common knowledge, but the other people in the group did not. So, I mean, not everybody has a health freak nurse mother. So we talked about, like, carbs, we talked about different, like, how to read nutritional labels. So, like, if you look at my binder, basically, like, how to read a nutritional label, which I was the only person in there that knew that. But, like, that's fine, whatever. Like, you know, this is there's a whole bunch of other new things that I'm learning too. So if you don't know these things, like, it's no big deal, you'll learn them. They give, like, this whole binder is just full of information that, you know, if pretty much any question you have, the binder will answer. So they give you all, like, lists of foods that you can eat, things that you can't eat, things to avoid, things that will cause what they call dumping syndrome, which, if you don't know what dumping syndrome is, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Whenever, like, when I was talking about the food going through you too quickly, or that's pretty much what it is, and it goes completely through you, and then you dump. Not a fun time. That does not sound like a good time to me. So basically, there are certain things that will cause that, like caffeine and, like, sugar substitutes and stuff like that. You just don't want those things to happen. So that was what we went over the first dietary visit. And then on my second dietary visit, which was December 30th, in between my first dietary visit and my second dietary visit, I had Thanksgiving, my birthday, and Christmas. So, and they weigh me at my first dietary, just like to get my starting weight, and then they weigh you at your second. And that's one thing, is that you can't gain weight or you'll add on another dietary visit. So luckily I had lost like a pound, like not much. And she was like, I wonder why you're not losing weight. And I was like, well, Thanksgiving, birthday, Christmas, I just did not do well on all those things. The behaviors, the 11 behaviors that I give you, did not do well on those. And so after that visit, I was like, okay, time to kick in gear. It's January, the new year. It's time to, like, really get this down. And I gave up soda. I gave up eating out. I, like, packed my lunch every time. I made sure I was eating breakfast. Like, I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I was working on not drinking during my meals. That was difficult, but I was working on it. But I gave up, like, all the other foods, fast food, all that stuff. And anytime, like, I would go out to eat with my family, I would try to make a good choice, try to, follow the guidelines. Well, I come to my next appointment in January, and I had only lost, like, a pound, maybe a pound and a half. And I was like, what in the world? Why in the world am I not losing weight? Like, I figured out I cut like 1,000 calories just from like not drinking soda. And so I was like, this is ridiculous. Why am I not losing weight? And we couldn't figure it out. My dietitian couldn't figure it out either. So I was like, well, that's like really depressing. So at my appointment in January, my dietitian was trying to figure out if I needed to have one more appointment, one more dietary visit, or if we were good to go on scheduling the surgery. So I had to have all those things on that checklist checked off, like the endoscopy, all cardiac clearance, all that stuff. And I hadn't been able to get all of that done. So it took me a long time to get my cardiac clearance because I had to see a cardiologist, and she recommended having the echo and a stress test and then seeing her one more time. And so then when I went to schedule it, they couldn't get me scheduled for almost a month from that point. It was like 3 weeks later. And so that was kind of discouraging because it was like taking so long. So then, but I had those done, no problems, nothing. So she, had me cleared. Well, then because it had been a few weeks from my last dietary visit, my dietitian decided that I should have another dietary just in case. I go in at the beginning of March. It was right after my cardiac visit. It was like 3 days later. And I had gained weight. I don't know how I gained weight because I've given up so much. I've been eating so clean, but I had gained weight. I had gained like 7 pounds. I gained 7 pounds. How after giving up thousands of calories per day did I gain 7 pounds? I have no idea. But it's probably a good thing because they probably would have either postponed it or I would have been in the hospital at a really bad time during this whole COVID-19 pandemic. So, I mean, it was probably for the best. But in my last appointment, we went over all of like the pre-surgery diet, pre and post-surgery diet, which is basically nothing. So on my pre-surgery meal plan, you start this 2 weeks before surgery. It's basically just like a liquid diet. So this is like a sample meal plan. So for breakfast, 1 serving of protein powder with a cup of skim milk. For snack, you could have a cup of chicken, beef, or vegetable broth. For lunch, 1 serving of protein powder with 1 cup of skim milk. For snack, 6 ounces of no sugar added Greek yogurt. For dinner, 1 serving of protein powder with a cup of skim milk. And a snack, you can have a sugar-free popsicle or sugar-free Jell-O. So that sounds like a blast. So basically you do that for 2 weeks before your surgery and then 2 weeks after. It's the same thing. Because you can't have you can't have anything in your stomach during the surgery. And they want to prepare you for how you're going to eat after surgery because your stitches are still healing. And so if you try to eat something, you could break those stitches and cause a lot more problems. And that does not sound like a fun time. Okay, so after the surgery, the first stage, the stage 1 meal plan is basically, the first day of the surgery is just clear liquids. So then stage 2 is when you're going home. It's just the same way that you eat before the 2 weeks before. You'll start the stage 3 of your meal plan, which is where you kind of start adding some stuff. So your stomach is still healing, so there still might be some swelling. So you have to make sure that your food is soft and, you know, is easily digestible. So you're still drinking the protein shakes, and then now you're adding like pureed foods like scrambled eggs, cottage cheese, canned tuna, canned chicken, Greek yogurt, applesauce, bananas, mashed potatoes, anything that's easily digestible. But you make sure to, you know, eat the protein first. So then after that, at your 1 month, mark, then you can start your stage 4. So that you're adding cooked vegetables, canned fruit, starches, but you still are avoiding soft bread, popcorn, and pastas because they're kind of hard to digest. So at this age, I'm pretty much ready to have the surgery, but they have, they've pretty much canceled all elective surgeries, and bariatric surgery is considered elective. So I'm just continue to practice those behaviors that, you know, that list of 11 behaviors that we talked about. I'm still, you know, working on that, making sure I'm exercising, chewing my food, drinking a lot of water, and, you know, just getting those behaviors down pat. I'm really gonna have them down pat by the time this is over. But I think I might be the only person that hasn't gained the quarantine 15. Praise God. But so I had an appointment with my dietitian on Monday, and basically, you know, went over what I've been eating. You know, she asks me, you know, what have you been eating? And I give her specific examples of, you know, what I had for dinner, what I had for breakfast. And, you know, she's like, either, okay, let's get rid of that, or that sounds really good. And at this point, the things I eat, you know, are what she's wanting. And so, because I did have my sleep study done a few weeks ago, she wants me, that's one thing, I have to get my CPAP. She wants me to have them send in my results of that sleep study, and then start using my CPAP. But basically, I'm ready for surgery. I just have to, you know, wait out this pandemic, and hopefully that'll be soon, because I'm ready to get the show on the road. But I have another appointment at the beginning of May, and hopefully we can schedule it then. So what happens then is she'll schedule it 5 weeks out from that appointment. And there's a few like other things that I have to go in. I'm not really sure exactly what, like, I'll have to get like prepped for surgery and all that, but I will keep you guys updated. In the meantime, if you have any questions or anything about the process so far, I meant to make this video forever ago and kind of like after each appointment go over what I did, but I was so busy and I didn't get to. So I just like went over them, like just the bare minimum. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And thanks for following along with my journey. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.